Well, folks, we are live tonight with Andy from the Forward Leave Clover podcast. Andy, I'd just like to say welcome to the podcast. I really appreciate you inviting me on about 3 weeks ago. We had a good laugh, obviously the quiz and talking about our opinions on the team at the time. But a lot has happened over since that last 3 weeks. It feels like that was 3 months ago at this rate.
It's been thanks for having me on, Keith. Absolute pleasure. And by the way, just you're talking about the quiz we had on that night you were on as well. You want to come on when there's a conundrum, Scottish conundrum. What a laugh that is. I don't think I've ever got one right in that. It's quite, I find it quite difficult, but you should come on. We'll get you on one night when we get the conundrums back. But you're right. A lot has happened. It's been an absolute whirlwind. Especially over the last week in particular, but obviously the weeks leading up to this. You think the football's bad, and then things that's going on behind the scenes are just an absolute shambles. Every day, you think it can't get worse than yesterday, and it does. And a mad statement comes out that just absolutely insults your intelligence. It's just madness, absolute madness.
Exactly. It's just mad to think. But when I jumped on your podcast, we were talking about the qualifier, the Champions League. We're like, oh, we'll have enough to get through. We should sweep the ground, and then obviously another failure to that list of A.K. Athens, Ferencváros, Midtjylland, just an absolute laugh. Malmo, and this is 7 failures in the last 10 years, and the only obviously the three. We obviously got through Brisheva and Astana. They were the only two ones we got through. We had to, but the rest has just been an absolute mockery. Before we jumped on, I just showed you a list of business we done when Peter Lawwell took in the hierarchy of Celtic in 2003. Yes, we had debt. We had debt, and we cleared the debt. It was like 30 million at the time. We cleared the debt, and we obviously got Champions League over that tender with Martin O'Neill, Gordon Strachan, failed with Ronnie Doyle at one point. But what do you think needs to happen? I know this is going to be a long game. This is not going to be a simple action from Celtic fans, and this is why there's been a continuity of Celtic fans over the last 3 to 4 weeks engaging. I think this has been brewing since lockdown, to be honest with you.
Aye, certainly. I think when it comes to taking action, we know exactly what's going to happen on Sunday. That's going to be the first step on whatever action's been taken. Coming in the 12th minute, I know we're going to touch on it later on. We'll talk about that. People going on about a takeover. I think that's way off the mark. It's millions upon millions of pounds. It's more complicated than that. What you need to do, what you need is visual and audio. Show the board that with the discontent that they're treating the fans with, the ignorance that they're treating the fans with, that we're not happy. They obviously do know it, but they don't care. That's got to be the first step, is what's happening on Sunday. Then it's just basically keeping the pressure on. You're talking about boycotting merchandise. Again, they just brought out the day. I think it was the day. Was it the day?
So they brought out the Icon range.
And we're just looking at the prices here, and it's like, listen, just keep your money and shut up. It's
this is the sixth range of clothing they've brought out so far this summer. They brought the US range out. They brought the different trainer ranges as well. It just shows that I understand he signed a big deal with Adidas, a 10-year deal, and they're now moved up to elite club. But the 10 words elite club with Celtic with the relationship with the fans is just laughable. It really is laughable that us fans, fair enough, there's been over 600 Celtic supporter groups that signed this. Your own podcast, my podcast, the five or six organisations, big organisations, they've all come together and said, enough of this shite. These need to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Aye, but of course, Dom, I don't like that. I don't like that phrase. Like, Celtic is a business, but this is our passion. we buy into this business, you should be getting something back in return. You should be
Well,
getting something back.
Keith, you've got a lawyer and an accountant who are dealing in football business when they've got absolutely no business being there because they haven't got a clue about football business. We know for the past Lawwell's interference and deals with Celtic. They, in my opinion, they're not qualified to be making football deals or serious football decisions. And I'll tell you something, Dermot Desmond certainly isn't. So if the whole transfer thing is down to everything's got to get kind of finished off with him, he's got to get the last word on it, whether these deals happen beyond above a certain price for a player is an absolute disgrace. Our whole structure.
We don't have a director of football there.
No, we don't, and I suppose that's one of the things that's got to change. But I think the personnel that's on the board has got to change for a start. That's what the fans are calling for. So change is needed. I said it last night in our it was last night on our podcast. There's going to be a patsy. They're going to eventually put somebody out, and it's going to be Nicholson. But Lawwell and obviously Dermot will still be there, and they'll just bring in some other puppet that's going to try and attempt to steer the club in the same direction, doing the same deals, doing the same.
My view is I don't think they'll even outsource, because remember they outsourced with Dominic McCoy, and how long did Dominic McCoy last? Not long, and he had a good job in the Scottish rugby setup. He got Scotland and big revenues in Murrayfield through the Six Nations and stuff like that. His marketing campaign was unbelievable for the Scottish national side, and he didn't care. Within a couple of months, he was gone. He was the man behind Ange, and Lawwell stepped away.
He was one that introduced the fan media getting in as well, and getting their chance to ask questions as well. So he was a very forward-thinking guy, obviously too forward-thinking for this board because there was too much communication going on, and they just don't like that. They see the fans getting access or having voices as being having power and power in the fan base, and that's something they just are not interested in. They're interested in a very, very selfish lot. You can go into about talking about money and how, as long as they make sure they get their bonuses every year, they don't care. They honestly don't care. We are the last things.
Job for the boys, and as I said, the whole. Hopefully, one day Dominic McCoy will speak out what happened with the Celtic board, what happened with his job, because there's answers I would like to know. That's I'd like to know where he recruited Ange. When Ange came in, as you're well aware of, Ange had to do all the approaching players himself. There was no middleman to do that. He had to ring up and get the likes of Jovanovic, get Jota on loan, get Carter Vickers on loan. Yes, he had a good tap into the Japanese market, and that benefit was that season. But it's an absolute shambles. You look at for example, the Europa League. The Europa League on the whole, fair enough. We're in that competition now. We're not going to hit the revenues near that the Champions League would have given us to be even in the Champions League. But bringing players in from Man City on loan, getting players in from the JD, getting a guy in from Fulham. We've left out 4 signings this season that are not even in that Europa League squad. That just shows, is it down to the poor recruitment? Are they not up to the stature? What's going on with this club?
I'll tell you what's happening here, because it's Brendan and the board having shots at each other. So he's basically making a point that you've brought these players in and no good. The whole kind of Pusey thing really. We heard last night that apparently he's going about the dressing room and the training ground thinking he's a big I am, and I think Brendan doesn't like that.
Rumor last week he refused to play a B team game.
Yeah. So that's not a good start for him. But then again, Man City sent him up for a reason to play, and that's an avenue that could be blocked as well in the future. Celtic's had quite a few players for down there, so if Celtic start messing Man City players about, that kind of relationship could go sour as well. So if they're required a loan signing or somebody with a loan to buy option, that could be gone. Contacts could be kind of broken. If this deal doesn't kind of, if he doesn't get any kind of game time, obviously they've sent him up for a reason to get game time, to play in a winning team and winning trophies. You know, it's a really good experience. Even though he's came for a Premiership team, it's a good experience for a player, and it tells, it shows Man City the type of player they're getting back. They're getting back a winner, a guy that's probably going to get a lot of game time, and if he isn't getting that there, and if they have to pull him out, you can say goodbye to that relationship. And I just when you're touching on Ange, we get really lucky with Ange. Oh, we had all our eggs in the basket with Eddie Howe, and you know how that turned out. So the fact
I was fuming when Howe let us down, and I was like, "Who's this Ange guy?" I was pure against Ange. I didn't even give him the benefit of the doubt, and I got attacked by a lot of Celtic Aussie fans and people from Japan that support Celtic, and they said, "Don't stop judging this guy from far distance." And I was like, "Well, this guy doesn't have the UEFA license. Like, of course, I'm starting to think this is a cheapskate from the board." But at the same time, I was like, are they going outside the box here? Who is this lad? And I look at Ange. Ange has proved he's a winner. And I don't know if you've seen his press conference today. He turned around and he goes, "I don't win trophies in my second season. I win them in my fourth season." If you knew I was at Celtic.
Yeah. Well, that's a snobbery down south you're going to get, innit? You know, he's always got a good answer. Fair play to him for that. He's always quick off the mark. And he tells the truth, you know, he doesn't lie. He basically tells the truth. I can remember Postecoglou actually when he was the Australia manager, but didn't realise it was him when Celtic brought him in. Obviously, he'd aged.
It was the same as well when he played in Netherlands.
When I see the footage for years ago after he took out at Celtic, I was like, do you actually know this guy? I can remember him being on the touchline. Always thought to myself, he's quite heavy for a manager. Do you know what I mean? So always expect managers to be quite fit, but I think, you know, we really get lucky with Ange, and certainly when it comes to the style of football, it's up there with Tommy Burns for me and the type of football that he played. And I think, you know, badly missed. I think that's the kind of style I like. Just go for it. I think they could be doing with a wee injection of that type of style this season, because although results we've done no bad, and performances haven't been absolutely fantastic, we're still to really kick off. And are we actually going to kick off? Because there's so much going on that it could be blamed on affecting the team. I don't know, but listen, good luck to Ange at Nottingham Forest as well. He's obviously managed a team that's won a European Cup and us, and he's now a team that's won it twice, 2 years in a row. Nottingham Forest won it, and he just won a European trophy for Spurs. So he's doing okay.
And I think they're in the Champions League or the Europa League or something. Not the Champions League, the Europa Conference League or the Europa League.
I think it's a Europa League guy.
Yeah, so like he'll have a whack on that, but like I think Ange will finish probably about 8th with Forest, 8th or 9th. I was sure he'd be having a chat with Martin O'Neill and stuff, because obviously Martin was played there and was a captain there and managed there as well. So he'll have connections there with Forest, but I wish him the very best. But it's just regards to Brendan, Dom is saying Ange had a better relationship with the board than Brendan. I feel Brendan Rodgers wasn't the first preference name when Ange was leaving Celtic, even though back at the time I wanted Brendan back in. I was one of the first people to say, I said I want Brendan back in. A lot of people are like, nah, not a chance. But I knew obviously there was talks of him being up here a couple of times at the Cup semi-final, staying up here, property portfolio. It all made sense to me at the time that he was going to come back up here.
That was tasting the water. That was tasting the water for him, innit? You know, obviously the board obviously had him in mind, and
I know we always say Desmond has the final say, but I'd say the board were keen of taking him back, and Desmond said, "You know what? Just go over to Mallorca, have a chat with him, and if he doesn't want to come back because he's after being sacked from Leicester, fucking leave him be. He's made our bet. He's made his best."
I think it's what the kind of friction there is between Lowell and Brendan. They never got on the first time as well. So, you know, he's pals with Desmond. You know, Rodgers is pal with him, but also he's got Lawwell in there, obviously the first time, the accountant, got all the money together, got all the figures right, and you can quite clearly see that Lawwell's job is there to actually keep an eye on the board and make sure that keep them on the straight and narrow, and he's actually working Nicholson for the back. That's quite clear to say. As soon as he came in, you just knew it was going to happen. Certain things it's got his DNA written all over it. There's no escaping it. There's two problems straight away, and it'll be Nicholson and Lawwell. I've got to go, in my opinion. You've got to bring in new ideas, better qualify people as well if they're dealing with football stuff, because they haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
Business-wise, figures and stuff like that, aye, that's fine. And it is a business, but that business is football, and that
I think Lawwell lives on. I think Lawwell lives on this ethos because he turned down Arsenal a couple of times.
Yeah.
He's the boss of Celtic. He is the Don of Celtic. That's what I think the problem is with Lawwell, even though he's non-executive as he's on paper, but like, yeah, he's still making over 120 grand salary per year minimum. And I'm sure when the figures come out, when they tap themselves on the back for the AGM in October, November, whenever it is, their salaries will go up. And this is what pisses me off, Andy, and this is what I'm trying to make a point across Facebook and across the socials. People that don't want to listen, people that just want to care about the football. I know some people that are against it saying, well, it's a business, Keith, it's a business. You need to understand, whatever you're putting into this, the more richer you're making Celtic with kit merchandise, with ticket merchandise, with season tickets, the board are benefiting. The team are not benefiting. The team are only benefiting to maybe a 25% injection. They have not replaced Kuhn. They could say Nygren is a Kuhn replacement, but for me, Nygren looks like a player, but we got him cheap, but that's only 600k, Andy.
And he's not a winger.
17 million. 17 million on
Kuhn. He's not a winger, Keith. 17 million for Kuhn, and you're bringing in Nygren, and by all means, he looks a good player, but he's like a 10 or something like that. He's not. The guy's not a winger. So we've not replaced Kuhn, we've not replaced Kyogo, we've not replaced Jota, because he's out to at least January, and who knows what kind of Jota we're getting back. Might not get the same player back. So there's three right away. There's three right away, and he does left as well, by the way. So who was back up to Kyogo, then became the number one striker. That's two that's left in that period, and really not being replaced.
I would say, see the whole Ida thing. I'd say Ida turned around said to Brendan about a month ago, because he came out and said in public when he was for the Ireland game during the week. He said that the pressure that was under, he said it's a horrible place to be when you're under the scrutiny and the abuse you get playing for Celtic where you're not on form. And it's that hype when you join a massive club like Celtic. The expectation on you is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But this is what you're signing up for. And Ida just could not cut it. And I was delighted he scored last Friday, but I made it clear in the channel he wasn't good enough for Celtic. Wasn't at that level for Celtic. At the start, when he scored them memorable goals at Fair Park and Easter Road in the cup final, I jumped on the bandwagon, sign him, get me in. But he just couldn't cut it. And his defence to the media was, I was a guy that was coming off the bench and I still had 20 goals. How is that justifiable when I was getting on that online abuse? My opinion is you went off the grid for 15 games. What happened in them 15 games? It's down to the body emotion as well. If your body language is telling you it wasn't enthusiastic as he was in his loan move. I knew when he stepped up against Almaty he was going to miss it. I fucking knew it. I was like, he's going to miss it.
I think the problem with Ida, Keith, is he struggled with the pressure of being the main striker. I think he was more effective, maybe coming off the bench and scoring a goal here and there. And let's be honest, a lot of the goals he did score, the game was won by then. So he had a few games where it was pivotal, and so no fell off my seat. It was pivotal in the game to win the game. You look at the cup final, you look at the goals against Hibs, etc. And a lot of the games that he played actually didn't affect the outcome of the game. He's coming on as a kind of late-ish sub, sticking the ball in the back of the net.
By the young boy, but with in his permanent stint, I would say his best games for Celtic was when he came off the bench against young boys. He played well against them. They kind of to get that goal, that own goal, and then his 2 goals at Aston Villa. Bar that, like, there's nothing where they comes around saying, "Oh my God, he was smoking in them games." As much as he scored 20 goals last season, none of them really stick out bar them couple of games. It's just weird, as you said. So that the game was dusted, although there was a tap in. I know it's a goal and it's stats, but I wish him well. I don't hold any animosity towards him. I want to see him do well in his career, but I think the move, the pressure, as you said, just got to him.
I think it definitely is a pressure thing with him. You'll probably see him go down to Swansea and score loads of goals now because the pressure's off. You know, it's a very hard situation to be in. To be at a team that has got to win every single game, even in Europe against top opposition, you're still looking for Celtic to win. A lot of people can't handle that, you know, because a draw is an absolute disaster. And that's when people are then, if they are online on social media and they see comments getting made about them, they can't puts the heads down and the confidence goes.
Do you think, see that video clip that went around of him getting sick in the taxi? You think that was the downfall of him feeling like that in Glasgow? The pressure got to him. He was out with a few friends, had a few babies, and you know, maybe his mind was set up then. He's like, fuck this, I'll just come back in pre-season, I'll try to get stronger. And I felt like it went the opposite way.
You see, that's the problem you've got as a professional football player now, that there's phones absolutely everywhere. Everybody's filming everything, so you get away with nothing. So even if players they go out on a night out and their nights off and whatever, you know, it's like what a travesty as footballers had a few drinks and been sick in a taxi. It's like big deal. It shouldn't affect him on the park, really, when you think about it. You know, back in the 90s, teams were going out getting pissed once, twice a week and still winning trophies and stuff like that. You know, so it shouldn't be affecting his certainly performance wise, body wise. And the mind eye, and he's looking at comments and it's putting his head down, then it could affect him.
That's the thing, like, because he's a 24-year-old, he's in that generation where social media is massive. It's a massive, like, they're probably getting contracts for clothing, car deals, whatever, and boot deals, and then on top of that, you're ambassador for certain organizations. And if you're going out and you're more than entitled, if it's your day off work, you're more entitled to go out and have a bevy or meet up with friends. And as you said, the wrong person sees you and you're having too many drinks. We go back to that picture. Remember Scott Brown? Scott Brown was pictured on the ground. Was it a kebab or something he was having on the ground or something?
Yeah.
And that was, he was on the verge. He was literally fighting for his Celtic career then. And then obviously Brendan came in and just transformed Scott Brown. Gave him an extra couple of years on his career. He got fitter. He became more sharper. You saw more of Scott Brown as a leader as well. Even though he did win, he'd done 1 titles and cups before that, but it was a new level of Scott Brown. I just think with the whole Adam Ida thing, it was just, I think the price tag got to him. I think it just got to him, and it just, look, as I said, I wish him the best, and hopefully he bangs a few goals for Swansea and he helps them get promoted, or, you know, has a bit of banter against teams like Birmingham, his former teammates and stuff like that, and Norwich as well. But what do you think of the whole Inacho stuff?
Well, you know, when he first signed, Peter saying he's about 2 stone overweight and all that.
Doesn't look it. He looks kind of sharp. I was surprised when I seen all
he does, because I've made a wee image of Mr. Bobby with a Celtic tap on and says that was his unveiling, just a laugh, you know. I wasn't really getting to him because I hadn't actually seen a picture of him. I think I seen a picture of him maybe in training gear or something like that. No, it was maybe with Sevilla or something like that. He looked heavy. But listen, you can make enemies look whatever way you want nowadays. You know what I mean? So you can put a couple of stone on somebody and it looks genuine. It does
Who's
look.
that guy that plays for Man U that signed from Brentford and he had a couple of timber on them pre-season? What's his name? That plays up front for United? Is he plays on the wing or he plays up front? The guy that he signed from Brentford. He had a bit of timber on him when he signed for Man U. I can't think of his name. Oh, it's stuck in my head. But Nacho came through Man City. Like Joe Hart is saying that he's going to hit the ground running. He's going to do well at Celtic. Like Kasper knows him quite well at being Leicester. Like Brendan knows him. But I wasn't disappointed in getting that particular player in. My brain. Oh yeah, that's the guy. Sorry. I was more pissed off with the lack of ambition in the whole transfer window. The lack of showing, right, look, we fucked it up. Let's go out and spend another 15 million and let's rebuild for next season or getting into the Champions League next season. But this is the problem, as I said to you earlier on. It's the continuous failures that keeps hitting us in the back of the head. The Ferran Barros, the A.K. Attons, the Malmo, and now to Almaty.
I mean, again, you're down to the last day of the season, scrambling about, and Ian Actual wasn't in the plans. The fact that they've had to get him in
deadline. He fought in January.
Exactly, and he had that nightmare at Middlesbrough back at Sevilla, you know, and we're scrambling about in the last day of the season, getting him to cancel his contract in order to sign for us because it was after the deadline, which is, you know, and to make out that this was a plan all along is just getting taken for mugs again. We've got plenty of time.
I think it's an ego with the board, right? I think it's an ego with the board where there's examples of it during the season. Examples back in John McGinn's day as well, right? Aye. So they had a chance to get that guy from Rapid Vienna, Sebastian Janssen or something like that. The guy that was replaced Kiln. They weren't willing to pay an extra 2 million to get that guy in. The same situation with Sebastian Taneke, the guy that we signed. How long did it take him to get that guy over the line? They need to understand. Go in with a reasonable bid. Stop going in with half valuating the player. It's fucking laughable. If we only had 20 million in the bank, a total 20 million, I can understand. We have to count your pennies, but with the amount of money that you have, you should be going in and saying, right, look, here you go. Here's 5 million on the button. That's all we're giving you. None of this bollocks of, oh, we're going to give you 2 million. Or we'll give you an add-on of 900 grand. It looks embarrassing. It looks embarrassing. Look what happened with Balikwisha. Sending delegations over to Belgium to get a guy that was injured half of last season. Fucking laughable.
Aye, and I think, you know, when it comes to you're selling players and the money you're bringing in, you're not even touching the sides when it comes to what you're spending on players.
So we can understand that they're not going to go out and spend 17 for 17.
But we're not asking them to do that. Nobody's asking them to do that because you don't have to do it. Yeah. If you remember back to the Bayern Munich game night, and we all done it, and we all sat here and we went, well, 3, maybe 4 players away from being a really, really good side. All right, we lost Kun, but it should have been replaced right away because the money was there for that. Should have been replaced right away. We're still dealing with. Now, remember, Kyogo didn't play in that game in Munich either. He was already away. So he was not replaced. We had Ida in that game, but we also had Kun, who was at that particular time, he was on fire and he was scoring goals for his position as well. Jota was still fit. And all of a sudden, after that game,
55 goals on the 3 them boys.
Aye, that's it. So we've not replaced that. But if you replaced Kun and brought in the Kyogo replacement, and then another maybe 3 players, quality players, then you've got a serious chance. Then you're prepared for the Champions League qualifier. But we're getting into that, and let's be honest, even with the squad we had, we still should have been beating Almaty. I'm sorry, but a team at 311 in the rankings.
Before, when the draw was done, I was like, look, it's a 10% chance they're gonna fucking beat us. You know, that's how I felt. And then that draw at Celtic Park, I said to me, mate, of all fans, He was a Rangers fan, and I goes, I have a bad feeling about this. He goes, Keith, you'll get through. I goes, I'm telling you right now, the football I enjoyed watching them at Celtic Park, Celtic are not up for it. Celtic are not up for it, and that's embarrassing to say. And we weren't up for it. It was probably the worst game since 2005 in Europe. Like, Lincoln Imps was bad, but fuck me, it was beyond that.
This European result is the worst, and probably worse in Celtic's history. It's got to be up there with the top 1 or 2, 3, maybe tops. But for me, it's the worst. It's and this is our too late. It's not a kind of one-off. Listen, these things happen. This is our 2 games, extra time and penalties, and we still went out. So I think it's an absolute embarrassment. That's going to be a hard one to beat. Hopefully there's no many like that in the future, because that was an absolute headache to watch. I just couldn't believe what I was watching.
I'm over the result, but I'm not over the preparation. I'm not over the aftermath. I'm not over the, oh shit, we got knocked out, let's spend money. Oh shit, let's clear this up. Like, if they were so-called Celtic fans, this board, they would come out and say, look, we'll take responsibility alongside the team, alongside the recruitment, and alongside the management for the failures of Almaty. But they don't. Look, we go back to the Dubois situation back in 2021. How long did it take them to come out? And then fucking Peter Lawwell sitting there like nothing's happened. Oh, we got it right. They made a shambles of it.
I know. And the thing is, after the Almaty games, we had the game at Snake Mountain, and we were actually worse in that game than we were in the European game. At least we had a couple of attempts in the games. We had no attempts at Snake Mountain.
I've never ever thought I'd ever say to myself, for a Celtic and Rangers game, both teams were holding off for a draw.
And you can see the style that Russell Martin is trying to play in. It's a Brendan Rodgers style, that whole possession-based football.
Yeah.
2 possession-based football teams who are no playing well at that particular time. I think it was always going to be a dreary watch. But honest to God, I think it's the worst derby I've ever seen in my life. It just
100%. It was just there was no intensity there, because they knew if they dropped any more points, he was out the door. And if we're not making excuses, so we flew from Kazakhstan, we had enough days to get organised, and there's just the lack of aggression, the lack of firepower. It just shows that these tactics are not working. Brendan's tactics are outdated, and as I said to you before, and I mean this, I would be happily right now accept Brendan to resign and go for another manager and start a restart, because it means you're getting this season over and done with. We're not going to get Newson. We're not going to get Newson from Bowler Glimt because they're in the Champions League.
The problem we've got, Keith, is whether it happens now or the end of the season, what kind of manager can we attract to come to a club? Who looking in, if you're a manager that's going to be good enough to manage Celtic, and then we're looking for progress in Europe, so it's going to have to be a pretty good high level coach to come in and do that job. Who do you know that is going to look at us and go, that's a club for me? Look at the absolute turmoil. The club can't make any signings. There's no clue what they're doing.
Three managers I would take, and I know people are going to be comments disagreeing, right? 3 type of managers I would take, right? I would take Nuno. That's what they're being sacked from Forest. I would take Mourinho, as much as his football is shit at times, but he's a winner and he's stubborn, and that's what the board needs. The board needs someone that can actually bite them in the fucking arse, like Ange did. Mourinho is the personality for that.
I don't think he's not done anything for years for me. His time has been and gone. I think he's had his time. I think it's
Nuno would be ideal.
I think so. When it comes to Knutson, he gets a percentage of every transfer that's made at Bodo Glimt, so that's out the window.
Yeah.
And somebody actually on our pod came into the comments and made a good comment to say, well, if you're getting paid £3 million a year, that doesn't matter about getting cuts in transfers. Because he's certainly not on £3 million a year. I don't know how much he makes on transfers. But he certainly gets some playing the brand of football very much when Celtic played Bodo Glimt, they were playing like Celtic on steroids to me. That's the way. Ange must have looked at it and went, that's the levels we need to get to. Playing this style, that's the levels
in the Conference League as well. But they have established, they went from strength to strength. They went from Conference League to, I think it was the semi-finals of the Europa League the following year.
Right.
And then they're into the Champions League. It just shows that there's a project there. Someone saying in the comments, look at Club Brugge. Club Brugge are a fantastic model. Copenhagen are a fantastic model. They spend when they need to spend. They spend when the positions they have to spend. But we don't. We're milking it in and we're not spending it. And it's paying this price. How much, like, obviously the Champions League, there's been different pots each season, there's been different revenues. I'd say we've lost out on, what's this, 7 qualifications, probably perhaps around 225 million over the last 10 years.
It's a lot of losses.
I'm just putting that into perspective, around 30 million.
Aye, well, coming for a board that is so money orientated, and you look at the lack of risk or speculate to accumulate, it's a big letdown for them because it's an awful lot of money to lose, and they failure to qualify 7 times out of 9. So it shows you when the pressure is on that we've not been prepared enough in these qualifiers to take on teams to qualify into the group stages.
I think it's down to lack of preparation. I think I think the manager has to take accountability as well, and the managers in the past as well, like Lennon and Doyle, Ronnie as well. I think it's down to stubbornness because we've won the European Cup. We claim Celtic Park's a fortress. These teams are ranked lower than us. These teams don't have experience in the Champions League. Or we should get through. That's what I think it's down to as well. I think it's down to that as well. You go back to Ferencváros. I was like, fuck, we can wipe them clear. And they absolutely swept us.
Aye.
At Celtic Park.
So is it us? Are we the problem? We're the problem because we are
70% of the board.
We are.
70% of the problem of failing with Champions League is the board, lack of investment, and 30% is down to the manager and the stubbornness from the players to go, oh lads, go out. We're at Celtic Park, put a show on, but it's not the serious way of saying, fucking hell, get the lights on. We're playing in the Champions League. They're not feeling this whole Champions League badge on their arm and taking it to that event. They're taking teams with a pinch of salt. And if we didn't win our first home game, our first 4 games of the league, imagine what I'd be like now. You'd have fucking 20 or 30 podcasts set up since.
See, the thing is, Keith, the board look at the Champions League as a bonus to get there. They've absolutely no ambition to win it. Listen, there's no chance we're going to win it, but you can't go in thinking that. You've got to go in with that attitude that let's do the best we possibly, let's prepare the best we possibly can, especially if you've got to qualify beforehand. If we qualify straight into the group stages,
it pays off.
They're laughing down their sleeve at that, because they're just rubbing their hands off.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
like, there's no question that. Like, there's no question that Celtic fans are not turning their back on the team. Now, we're going to talk about the 12th minute, and it's the case that we have to make it in a way that people are starting to wake up. People are starting to wake up, and I feel like there's about 70% of fans, or maybe a little bit higher, that have agreed to terms that, like, look, there's over 600 CSCs. There's been over 60 Celtic podcast forums that have agreed, and then the 5 or 6 big organisations that signed this open letter. I think a lot of us are in agree that something needs to be changed. But there is a portion of fans that just don't want to think like that. They just think, oh, back the team, we'll be fine, green tints on. It's not, it doesn't work like that. It does not always work like that. Because they're going to get away with it again next season and the season after.
Aye, the thing is, Keith, right, that survey, it was put out, so there was like 38,000 people took that survey, possibly more now, but the results came out on Wednesday night, and they were on the high 90s, so it was overwhelming, the support for action against sport. I totally get that there's people out there that aren't part of a Celtic supporters club, haven't got fan media, aren't on a Facebook group page or get any that kind of voice or a platform to let their opinion be known. You've got to take that into account as well. Okay, so I think it's important that we do get as many voices and opinions as we possibly can, and I don't just mean fan media and organisations and supporters buses. I think it's important that we try and get an overall view for people that haven't got the otherwise opportunity to get their voice. How we do that, I don't know, but I think it's important that people
I just don't think
that haven't taken part in this get their voices heard.
100%. I don't think it's down to. I don't want to label these portion of fans because they bleed green as much as we bleed green. They want success, but they need to understand that there's a bigger problem here beyond the team. There's a bigger problem. It's down to the operations, and we don't want to cause a divide between Celtic fans because we're a massive club. We want our team to be successful, but only way our team is going to be successful is reinvestment. Invest in the team to back the team, because there's clearly a crop of players there that want to move, like Maeda. We don't know, like either moved, because it's either they've done it, they're bored of this style of football, or either they just can't take the heat of playing for Celtic anymore.
Well, that's that, especially when it comes to Maeda, right? Somebody I've come out and said, listen, he's somebody I would really hate to leave the club. I think we're losing a lot when he goes, a lot of energy, a lot of press for him.
100%, but it's his career.
It is his career, and really, if you're looking at a trading model, that this season was going to be the time we were going to get the most money for him. And it was almost that time. Said the same about Hatate as well. It's like he's time to move on and try and capitalise as much as we can on him. The manager came out and saying that Ida isn't going anywhere until there's a replacement, and then 2 minutes later he's out the door. You know, and then Maeda's sitting looking at that. Keith, Maeda's sitting looking at that, going, "What's this all about?" You know what I mean? They came to agreement with Maeda that they would let him go if they had a replacement in. But on the other hand, they've let Ida go. And the reason is with that is we spent 9 million on Ida. There's absolutely no chance of getting that back. So at the first opportunity, they've been offered 7 million. They thought, do you know what? A 2 million hit. If he's here for the rest of the season and doesn't play very well, then his value is going to drop majorly. So we need to try and get some cash in after him if the opportunity's there. And I think that's the reason why
he was younger and on a longer contract as well. That's why they said they will get rid of him. But Maeda, like, if Maeda left in the summer, just say if he left when Ida left, that would have been 87 goals. We would have lost that one.
Aye,
crazy.
I know it's and not being replaced. I know. Listen, look. Ian Archer, we're just talking about Ian Archer. You've got to get a guy. Nothing against him. I wish him any player that comes into Celtic. I wish him all the best.
It's just the logistics of how it happened. That's all.
It's how it came about as well. So obviously you want to be a success. You want Shin to be a success. I know we've not seen enough of him. I've not been impressed with him really. If I'm got to be honest with you, it was touted as being the next logo, but aye. So we've lost a lot of pace out of that forward line as well, with Kyogo gone and Kuhn, 2 very fast players. Maeda's no been on it. I think there's been talk of the way KT plays totally different for Taylor. They're almost getting in each other's way when they're going down that wing. Taylor seemed to be more inverted than the way KT plays. By the way, it's nothing against KT. That's the way he plays. So we knew that anyway. So maybe they're maybe hit it off as well as what we were hoping. Kuhn had an absolute fabulous start to the season last season. Had a very good half season. Was up there for Player of the Year and then fell off a cliff. And he did down tools. You know, you could see it in his face, his body language. And at the time I thought, nah, he's not that type of player. I think he's disappointed in the way that he's now performing. And I think that's what's shown on his face. It's disappointment in himself. But actually, it was the fact he wanted out the door. So him going with lost a lot out the team and certainly no replacing the key areas. And Brendan was the one that says, I'm not really bothered about getting a striker that scores a lot of goals because I like my goals to come from or in the park. Well, we're going to need to rely on other areas of the park for a while until we get a proven striker in, and we'll soon find out what these guys can do. Ian Atcho and Shin, and obviously you've got Kenny there as well, which I think he could turn out to be all right. You never know. I think the intention was to put him out on loan, but there's no as if that would happen even in January. I can't see that happening.
Sheena says walk out in the 67 minute. There's no point, Sheena, because at the end of the day, season ticket holders, they're just they don't care if the seats are empty or not. The bars, they don't give a flying shite. You walk in the 67 minute for what? How long? 10 minutes. If you want to do something about it, what you do is 2 hours before the game, get thousands upon thousands and protest outside that fucking stadium. Protest outside that stadium. And make the picture clear to all the board members that you're unhappy. You're unhappy. Get loads of banners. Keep protesting until they get to the stage where they're deaf in their ears hearing their names being called, and they have to resign. The pressure gets them. That's what you do.
Keith, something's going to have to happen because they can't ignore this. They can't, as a board, as a structure, they can't survive this.
Like the lack of engagement. They had a couple of meetings with the American Celtic Association, the Association of Ireland Celtic Association, and a couple of the groups as well. And this has come to a case where you have over 600 CSCs involved in this. 600. I could not believe. I thought there would have been about 50. I was like, oh my god. And that just shows that there's no confidence there. There's no confidence to say, right, they're going to listen to us. They're going to get it right. They're going to back. They should be saying, we're going to sort the manager situation out. We know that he's going to be leaving the summer. We're going to assess we're going to start the recruitment strategy. Speak to managers that have a year left in their contract, are in the same position as Brendan, that need that want to start a new project with Celtic. Start putting ambitions in place. Start having a plan A, a plan B, like a plan A of, okay, if this was to ever happen again, regards to Champions League failure, what's our structure of spending if we fail on this again? Because the rainy day money, we're not seeing it. It's not being spent.
I think as Keith, I think it's pretty well known that there was probably 30 players identified in the when the window was open that Celtic were looking at, and how many did they end up with for these targets? So they're failing. And the laughable thing is, in the statement, they said that we like to get things done quickly, and that's our aim, is to get things done quickly. And then in the same breath, Brendan Rodgers is saying the club's notorious for doing everything in the last day. So make your mind up. What is it? And we know a lot of the time it's been left to the last day because we've seen it with our own eyes.
I remember that interview. It was the Friday before the derby, and he said, I'd rather get players in early in the summer to gel them in, get them out of a hotel, get them used to the system, get them used to pre-season games, get the fixture in, and get them ready for the big games of the Champions League preparation. He came out and threw a dig at the board then. I honestly feel like he'll get the stage where, what's the point of managing this club? As much as I'm a fan, there's a negativity around it, this dark cloud around the fans, and it could get sour, and we don't want it to get sour. It could get sour where, as you said before we came on, if we drop points to Kilmarnock, who's going to get blamed? Is it going to be the fans that walked out for that, or the fans that walked in the 12th minute? They're not to blame. It's the team's to blame.
Yeah, but
it's the team.
I say to you beforehand, that's where it's going to get pointed to the fans. That's your fault for not coming in to the 12th minute. It's affected the team, and it's all a load of rubbish. And
I think it's a disgrace that people would even label fans in that way, considering these fans are spending fucking thousands on a yearly basis to support their team home and away. Them fans are raising a point to this board that We've had enough of this shit where you're pocketing money and you're not putting this money in. You're not putting the money in. It's like do you know what the Celtic board are like? The Celtic board are like they're like a set of thieves robbing that basket from mass of that money in it. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. And I know that's horrible to say, but the shambles what happened with Dolberg, the shambles that's happened with underbidding for players, the shambles what's happened with lack of preparation, the shambles that are football style. And Brendan has to take account of this. I don't know if Brendan it's backdated or he's having a dig at the boards. He didn't give us enough money. The football is terrible to watch. And I'm not expecting 3 or 4-0 on Sunday because the boys are coming back from international break. The players are in the door now. We have to back Balikwisha, Inacho, Cecily, whatever his name is. You back these individuals, you back the whole squad, but they need to show hunger. It's the lack of pressure, the lack of pressing on these teams.
Keith, my worry would be how does Brendan Rodgers motivate these guys after it's been an absolute hectic couple of weeks. He's obviously
Maybe a manager
that he's not getting the players that the personnel he was looking for. And it's quite clear. And then you go into the article that was linked to the Sun, obviously for the board about Brendan engineering his exit. So they're putting wee snippets out there to upset in my opinion, try to get Brendan to chuck it. But it looks at they're not getting my players he wants.
He won't chuck it because he doesn't want to. He does as much as I said. I think I think the only way Brendan will leave the club if a team like, say, for example, West Ham's the best option. The West Ham come in now in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Potter gets the sack, and they offer. I don't know if Potter's still there. The West Ham, I think he's still there. Yeah. Potter gets the sack. If West Ham offer Celtic money to their ears for the remaining of Brendan Rodgers' contract, they will take it. He will go.
I bet you Brendan wouldn't go though. I bet you wouldn't go.
He won't want to go, but the thing is, he'll be forced out the door.
Aye, but they would need to sack him then. That's the only reason he's going to leave, because he's absolutely adamant that he's going to be here to his 3 years is finished, and that's at the end of the season. So he will be here to the end of the season, no matter what, unless they sack him. And he said that I'll be here for the 3 years unless I get emptied. So they would need to sack him. Yeah. They would need to sack him. No way he's going to leave.
It's a shit state of affairs. As I said, I went on holidays to Mallorca last week, and all I fucking done was sit there and moaned about the board. I was meant to be away, having fucking Estrella, having my hoops on, feeling happy we're on top of the league, feeling happy that we're into the Champions League. But that wasn't in it because we weren't in the Champions League. And I'm saying to myself, anyone that takes up that Europa League package, as much as you love the club, you're giving into that agenda. You're giving into funding them fuckers.
I agree with that. And I said, in our pod, I says, look, if I was back in
the boards, just remember that it's going to the top. It's not going to the bottom.
If I was in a position to get Europa League tickets, that package, I wouldn't be taking them. Just personal principle reason. I've got absolutely nothing against people that want to go and watch their team, and nobody should have a problem with that. If you choose to go and do that, then fair play to you. I've got absolutely nothing against that. It's just my own personal opinion, and I think there's a lot of people feel the same way as well when it comes to that. Is it going to make it's going to be a visual thing, isn't it? Because personally, I want to buy the tickets, but other people make a good point that, listen, and Paddy said it on our pod, and he said, I would buy the tickets, but no go. Because if you don't buy the tickets, somebody else is going to buy the ticket and go. So, all right, you're not going to hit them financially. It's going to be a visual demonstration that buy the ticket, but don't go. Right?
Nah, it'd be too hard to do that, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Because if you don't take your ticket, now Celtic, the last time I checked, I think there's about 28,000 on the season ticket waiting list. Right? Incidentally, you've got to pay a tenner each person every year to stay that. So there's £280,000 just to stay on a waiting list every year, which is an absolute joy. I've been on it for 6 years now. And so you know, financially it won't hit them because you're buying the tickets, but it's going to be a visual thing because you've got to. Paddy made a great point. You've got to buy the tickets because if you don't take your package up, somebody else is going to take it off you and actually attend the game. So that's the only way to do it that way. You would be paying out.
They put the price down. 15 quid cheaper than it was Champions League ticket. It's down to £25. But like,
well, I think initially it was 180 for the 4 games, and now it's 140. So a tenner off each game they've took.
As it's like, I don't agree with boycotting league games. I think because the league is the bread and butter, but I feel like some sort of boycott for the Europa League, even 25 minutes boycott. I don't know. I think a lot of people say they will boycott it, but they won't boycott it because they love the club. And there's nothing wrong disputing they love the club, but you need to think about the logistics. That money is going to that board. That board are not going to give you the players, the quality players that brought in to play a sexy style of football, because clearly the manager is half checked out. As much as he wants to stay here, he's not being listened to. And I don't know if Brendan is going to get that team up to Kilmarnock on Sunday and get reaction, because Kilmarnock are unbeaten so far. They're unbeaten in the league.
I've seen one of their new signings saying that Celtic are in a bad place at the moment.
Celtic, the team are not in a bad place. We yet to be disappointed.
I know that, and somebody, it was on Twitter, and somebody says, there you go, Brendan, just pin that up on the dressing room wall. So you shouldn't need that to get Celtic up to beat Kilmarnock. You shouldn't need to pin comments up for Kilmarnock players to get Celtic to be playing to a half decent standard.
All you need to do is look at the side of your sleeve as champions on it. If you want to win a league again,
look down and look at the badge and look at the hoops and go, this is an institution I'm playing for here. You know, I need to get my finger out, because we don't let standards drop at this club. We like to be winning everything. Every trophy it's putting away, certainly domestically anyway.
So they brought out another range of training gear, gear as well. Icons one. Let's see, can I find this now? Show everyone this. Let me know if it's popping up. It'll pop up in a second on the screen. So I was just talking to Andy before we came on about this. So the Icon gear is being dropped, right? This was the gear that they were wearing in the away shorts. Look at the price of that stuff. Like 70 quid for a pullover top. Yeah, it's nice looking, but I wouldn't go in my way to pay 60 quid for a polo top.
No.
Not a chance. Especially the way things are at the moment. Now fans will buy it. Some fans will turn around and say, look, I like it. I want to buy it. This is my first top of the season. I want to buy it for a loved one. But I think I refuse to give the club any more money for merchandise until we see them actually communicating with the fans and taking the fans' message on board, that they want to engage. They want to have a regular dialogue with the fans. They want to tell the fans what they're moving forward, instead of waiting an AGM where they don't answer half the questions on a yearly basis.
I mean, there's that zipper there, 100 quid.
Yeah, 100 quid. Not a chance.
Yeah.
100 quid for a zipper. Yeah, it's nice.
That's the thing, Keith. You know, after all this, and obviously they know the fan meeting that went on with the fans at Gracie's, and a day or so later, they're flinging at fans, you know. There you go, there's more gear for you, gives your cash. The only things they've put out is the Europa League packages, and that bit of merchandise they're putting out absolutely hee-haw for them, as per usual. No reaction to anything that's going on to even rethink this situation, the words that they're putting out and the message that they're trying to project to the fans is basically silence. It's all about give me your money and shut up. That's why
you're just a number. You're just a number, like as you said. There's people on that season ticket waiting list. If it's 28,000, and I'm making a tenner a pop off that registration. You can be replaced. But
Keith, I wouldn't mind that, right? See if you're paying that to go on a waiting list, and then when you do get a season book, whatever how long you've been on the waiting list, you get that after your season book because you've already paid it. Now, why you're paying money to go on a wait list, I don't know. But that should be an idea as well. You know,
I've said the loyalty scheme. So basically, if you're a season ticket holder, you should be getting 25% off all Celtic merchandise in the club store. And then when you spend say you go in and spend 25%, and say you hit a value of argument's sake, 250 quid, you should be getting a voucher of another 15 quid on top of your 25% for your next buy, because it incentivizes you for people to keep buying and buying and buying. Let's be honest, Andy, we've all went to the Celtic shop and say, right, I'm going in and getting a new top, and that's it. Oh fuck, I like this training top, and you spend 3 or 4 times the amount. If they incentivize it, they'd get more money in. But they don't think like that. They don't think of the loyalty of the fans. They don't think of giving something back to the fans. That's what the problem is.
I mean, if you remember during COVID and it was a virtual season ticket you had, then they gave you a £50 voucher for the Celtic shop. So, you know, they're giving in one hand and taking it off you another, which is super.
Celtic fans should never been paying that online subscription. They should be getting their money back on that seat. But obviously, it's money. They have to. These expensive golf trips have to be funded. You know, these expensive.
Keith, there has been so many messages of problems that people have got in situations, and they want this improved and that improved, and the list is endless. I mean, really, seeing you look at it, if you get through all the comments, they should do this and do that as well. And I'm not happy with this. You're talking about Celtic TV. You talk about the footprint of the stadium. They don't do enough with that either. Fan zones, all that set up. You talk about the facilities in Celtic Park, the fact that they can't put banners back up again around the stadium. It looks a mess. It's not had a lick of paint in years. The stadium's what, 30-year-old now, about 30-year-old now, isn't it? So it's not had any much improvement to it. That's got to be looked at. So many different things needs improved. Even when you look at the kind of match day experience, getting to the stadium as well, they've got to try and do something about the closest you can get with a train is down at Dunmanloch train station.
Dunmanloch, or off the Duke Street,
and the access in and out of the place. People talk about Hampden being an absolute nightmare to get to. Celtic Park can be an absolute nightmare as well to get, not only to get to, but to get back in for as well. It's a nightmare. So there's loads and loads of issues that haven't been. We spoke about it last night about the fan survey that was done a year ago, and still no sign of the results for that. And we all know why that is, because it's all negative, and they don't want any negativity put out there, because then they would have to have answers for that, or at least respond to it, and they don't know how to respond to anything in a genuine manner, you know. So there's so many different things to speak about. It says a lot that there is so many issues going on, because it shows you that they haven't been maintaining that side of it for many, many years. You know, they've been gathering the money in and no doing much with
it. Today, I think they're afraid to spend the money and bury Rangers once and for all. I think they want to keep that Old Firm brand. They could, with the money they have, they could move up a level where they can actually be buying players for maybe 10 million, maybe 2 or 3 players a season, 10, 15 million. I know we say Ingles and Ida, that was last year. I don't go by last year, I go with this year. I just feel like they want to have some sort of competition in Scottish football to keep the sports world interested, the outside world interested. That's what I think it is. They have 30 points. We could wipe the ground and do the whitewash over Rangers, get back to them days, but they don't want it. They don't want it.
They're quite happy to have them at arm's length. You know, that they could put their foot in their neck anytime they want, and they're quite happy to keep them at arm's length. And that says it all for me. That's where their ambitions lie, is domestic football. I've got absolutely no vision for anything other than that. As long as they keep one step ahead of them and keep them about, then it makes for good business. So people say the Old Firm is dead. in their heads it's no, because it is a, you know, it is a firm partnership. Whether you think they're enemies or no, they're keeping them about for a reason. They could have done it years ago, and they've chosen not to do that. Really frustrating when you get half-hearted on things, and you know, we
It's
could have
laughable
put.
because Nicholson and Lawwell wearing that Ibrox for the game.
That's right. I know. Aye, I noticed that. I wonder if they'll be at the game on Sunday. That'll be interesting. I don't think we're going to see them about for a while. I've got to be honest with you. I think they're a bunch of shite bags.
I just don't think they value the fans. I like this club is set up on an institution to help people, you know, like a family club, and it feels like there's such a broken connection between the board. There's no middleman between you could basically say Nicholson and Brendan Rodgers. That Paul Tisdale, he's wood shit. He hasn't done nothing. We've never seen him. Never seen him since he's came in. He's not worth anything. What he has in a CV of Exeter City under his belt. Sorry, Exeter City's not Celtic Football Club. It's just a laughable. It's just an absolute stunt, and I just hope it doesn't go to the stage where if results go wrong, if Brendan leaves the club, they're looking at bringing Maloney in as a cheapskate, or it's Scott Brown, or it's a Damien Duff. I hope it doesn't go down that route, because it just shows that fans will get frustrated. And that's no disrespect to Maloney, no disrespect to Brown, and no disrespect to Damien Duff. They've all worked in the club, but it's just shown the lack of ambition about moving forward. And I think we're at a crossroads where, as I said, it's very hard to be motivated watching Celtic at the moment, because as much as you want to push the board to the side and focus on backing the team and focus on a big win or the 3 points or whatever, it's the shy style of football because the manager wasn't backed. And he can't get reaction out of that squad. Is it just backdated? Is it the lack of hunger? Is it politics that has affected the team? I can't identify it. And this is why I've watched so many podcasts like yours, ourselves, and other podcasts, and everyone's saying the same thing. We're all fucking fed up. But it's got to the level now where, right, fans are not going to walk into that stadium in Rugby Park until the 12th minute and then cheer the team on. It has to get bigger than that. This is the first step. And what I've heard of the meeting last night, it was a very constructive meeting. Sadly, I didn't get to attend because I was busy with other things. But I was raging I missed it, to be honest. But it's the most positive thing of right time. It's not dark times in any way, Andy. It's times where you have to be cautious of where this is going to go next, where it's going to go. Is it going to affect our players? Has it affected our players? I think it has. I think it's. Do you know the reason why I think it's affected our players? And this you'll probably ring to this. When Callum McGregor was asked about the transfers, and he said, "Oh yeah, we do need to bring players in. We do need to strengthen." He would have probably known by then why Ada wanted to go. That's what I think.
I think it's sad that the captain of your football club's having to come out and say that as well, though. That does not look good for the board, does it? And your manager's already said that as well.
It kind of gave me. I know this is weird, and I don't like compare. It kind of reminded me. Remember when Stephen Presley had to talk about the Hart situation when he was captain of Hart at the time?
Yeah.
It kind of has that kind of vibe to it, where your captain speaking out about your club. You don't get that a lot. And McGregor, I personally love McGregor, but I don't feel like McGregor is going to be that player that we should play every single game. Even though he's the captain, I just think his concentration levels have dipped big time. You've seen it. You've seen it in
There's
Europe.
also a reason for that, Keith, as well. Because see if you put up just before the transfer window shut, just put up your kind of squad, and there was competition in places, so there was like at least one or three in certain instances in each position. You look at Calmite in the middle of the park, isolated as hell, absolutely no help down there for him. A guy who's basically
he's not a defensive midfielder; he's an attacking midfielder, and he should be played in that role.
Aye, but obviously they've put him in there maybe because of his age. I think they're trying to manage him because he's come away from international football now to make his career, club career longer. Maybe that's the thinking and putting him in a kind of more defensive.
I'd like to see us do, right, keep do the back four as always, play 2 holding midfielders, 2 attacking wingers, and 2 forwards. I think that'd be the way forward. I don't know, football's not like that these days. You like the lone striker, you like the wingers, and it's all that tippy-tappy pep football. But if it's going to be like that on Sunday where you were frustrated after that Derby game, I watched you live and you were raging. If it's going to be that, Carter Vickers scales for 20 minutes, that's going to annoy the life out of you, especially on that Astro pitch.
I don't think I could see if it's going to turn out to be along the same lines as that Glasgow Derby and the way we played. I don't think I'd be able to watch it, and I'm going to have to be doing a post-match reaction after that game, and I'm going to have to sit and watch it. And I really hope we get a performance out of this team, a bit of liveliness about it as well. It's just
the wingbacks are not like Tierney. I know Tierney likes to bomb up. Like I know we have Ralston. I don't know if Ralston's going to be fit for Sunday now. We're withdrawn from the Scotland squad and Tierney. So we could be playing what's his name, Sarachi, and who's Donovan right back.
Donovan I quite fancy Donovan. I've been impressed when I've seen him. I think a boy that maybe deserves a chance. Listen, you want to talk about a youth set up, that's a whole podcast in itself. The feelings there that we should be utilising more, especially the amount of money we spend on the buildings and the input cash into that system. It doesn't get utilised enough.
I'd play Maeda and Inacho as the front two. Play Balikwisha on the left, on the right Negrin, and then Atate and McGregor in that holding role. Because it means if you have McGregor in that holding role, Atate could do his 1 or 2 runs, push it up the pitch, and then it'd be a turn of McGregor doing it. Because it's just the
For
football
me,
is.
I want to have Negrin on the wing. He's never a winger. He's got to play. He's got to play in the inside, just behind the striker in midfield there. I think he get more influence there. If you're talking about right winger, probably go with Forrest in there rather than Negrin if it was between the two of them playing in that position.
Yeah. So what Stuart's saying, I've been saying it's a once-off payment like every year, Andy's saying. And then someone said in the comments as well, pooled Asians get minimum 10% on merchandise. Was that the Celtic? Is that the windfall pool thing, is it?
No, the Celtic pools, I think that is.
Oh.
My old man used to do the Celtic pools years and years ago. They used to get a season ticket. Years ago, if you were a pools agent, you get a season ticket. That was part of your deal. Aye.
It's money, and look at no one's putting a gun to your head saying, "Look, your direct debit is coming out of Celtic this month." It's just the love you have for the club, and it's just as I said, I'm very sympathetic towards the fans that are going through this, that have travelled thousands and thousands of miles or hundreds of miles. They're on their buses and are feeling like, you know what's going to happen here? What's next? What's next is it should be in the power of the fans to decide. Like Barcelona is owned by the fans. Celtic Football Club should be owned by the fans, not this Dermot Desmond 35%, not these shareholders have a good percent, like the board have a good percent of the board. It should be the fans that have a bigger say in it. They should have a bigger say at AGMs. They should have a bigger say into all them problems, as you said, that you could be talking all night about, the infrastructure, the ticket pricing. And I know it's a cost of living. I know things have gone up and you have to pay staff a certain way. But these 5 or 6 people that are on this board hierarchy, it's ridiculous money they're on. Ridiculous money.
The thing is, Keith, I think Celtic Trust. I think David Lowe as well was part of this kind of meeting they had about the.
Yeah.
I think they're looking at trying to get 5% in order to order
to challenge
AGM.
them.
Yes, but even 5% is what they need is try to find these shares, exactly these kind of missing shares, if you want to call them that, is the amount of money involved in that. You need some heavy big hitters behind that to even get that kind of funding together. I believe that is an avenue that possibly could happen in the future as well, when it comes to actually getting real finance together and getting a voice through that way. We having enough shares to actually be in a situation like that. This I think, unless there's major changes pretty soon with the board, could be
I can't see it happening soon. I think it's going to be a long season. I think it'll be a long season of this back and forth between the fans and the board, and then, as I said, it might get sour by the next AGM. It might, as I said, it could be if they don't get a response, because at the moment the board can put their arms back and chill on the sunbed because the next 3 games are away. We're playing Partick away, we're playing Red Star away, and then obviously Kilmarnock on the weekend. But it will be the Hibs game where you will see will fans come together. It's all good saying done and these open signatures. It's actually doing something about it. Will you see 70% or 80% of the Celtic fans in that stadium actually say sack the board, instead of seeing these 1 or 2 videos where you see people? I don't know if you've seen clips where you see fans coming out of their seats and being furious at the board and they're pointing their fingers and all. You want to see more of that. You want to see that everyone making it out straight, saying, we're spending fucking money on this. You ain't fucking listening to us. We want something done soon. And what we want done is you tell us what's happening with the manager, what's happened with you, what you're going to do in January, how you're going to do it, how you're going to communicate with us in the future, and stop leaving us out in the cold. Stop putting out sleazy statements and not actually addressing the main concerns. They blamed everyone else on the last Saturday's statement by themselves, saying it's down to UEFA finances, the ability of the club. We can't spend that much in this climate.
Aye.
Yeah, and look at Bruges, look at Copenhagen, Look at Wrexham. Wrexham are spending more money than Celtic.
I know.
That's a proven example. Like, we're a fucking we're not we're a great club, like as in great historic club, historic fans, but it's the business, day-to-day business, the way we're ran, it isn't appealing. And I don't think anyone, if you were to get someone to come in and buy the club, I don't think anyone would want to deal with them trying to get look how bad the Kellys were in the 90s,
I know. The thing is with Celtic, they've got a really bad reputation now. The whole transfer saga and the way the club deal with other clubs. You've got Go Ahead Eagles coming out with comments, laughing emojis, and Swansea as well having bad things to say about just amateurish working with them. It's so that's where the changes have got to take place.
But it wasn't always like that. That's a sad thing about it. Like, I just think the ego over the last few years of winning trebles and tap. Like, you look back to Scott Brown, when Scott Brown was approached by Rangers, that conversation was in a car park in Rutherglen, compared to his conversation with Celtic was Tommy Burns, Gordon Strachan, Dermot Desmond down in London for a dinner. Like, that's it's about the way you sell things. And I just feel like they don't want to be ambitious and go on that extra step. They just want to live on the ego. We're Celtic Football Club. You should give us that player. We'll get that player for 3 million. And Go Ahead Eagles is a shambles. Because you look at Rangers, they got Ant-Man out Go Ahead Eagles, and fair enough, they wanted 5 million for Jakob Brenham. But, like, be ambitious. He's a young player. He's at the winning the Dutch Cup. Fucking spend the money. Like, it's not a case that we're going out and spending 50 million on this guy. It's shocking,
See, the thing is, with Balakwisha, that was the start of the year. he was first kind of linked, and it was for the same money that they've ended up paid for him, I think, so why is it taking so long? What is the issue here? That's the thing. It's obviously it's pinpointing players and finding out who's available and who isn't available, but it's actually getting the deals done. Initially putting in bids, which are seriously lowballing clubs to the point where they won't even deal with them. So that's going to be a problem as coming January one day, when obviously you're looking at Maida is going to be gone by the looks of it, and possibly others.
January's a hard enough window on its own.
Who's
to get
going to deal
players
with
in.
it? They seem to sell players all right. They seem to be able to sell players all right, Celtic, but they struggle to buy them for some reason. It's very difficult unless you're selling a player. Then it seems to be quite easy for Celtic to do it. Even within a 24-hour period, they can get rid of a player. So, but it's a different story when they're actually paying out money,
Let's be honest, if you're at a club and you're 4 goals and you're happy at the club and you're halfway through the season, are you going to leave a club halfway through the season to go to another club? And they might not guarantee you what you want. Let's be honest, people need to look at the logistics side of football. January is one of the hardest times to get a player in because it always drags on through the whole month. If the only time Celtic were actually productive in January was they were more productive in December when we got the J League trio in under Ange.
Right.
And Ange, even if Ange was still around, to say Ange didn't take the Nottingham Forest job, he would come back to Celtic. Why the fuck would you want to come back to Celtic and deal with that board? Deal with that board penny pinching. And we didn't have, when Ange was here, I think we had about 60 million then, 70 million then. I think it was less.
See, that's what I was saying before, is no matter when Brendan leaves, if he was to walk out tomorrow or leave it in the season, it's like, who's going to come in and work under this structure? It's very, that's the problem we need to look at now, is going forward that we know Brendan isn't going to be here next season. So who the hell do we get in?
What's concerning, Andy, is I know you probably watched all the interviews. It's the same shit he's asked about his contract. Obviously, he won't be asked about the transfers anymore because the window's closed. What's the next question he's going to be asked? He's going to be asked on Friday about, what's your opinion on the Celtic fans and the open letter? People will ask him. The media will ask him because it's clickbait, and he's going to be like, "Well, the fans are really important, but at the same time, I have a relationship with the board." Is he going to turn around and say, "I'd rather not speak about that," or is he going to basically turn around and say, "Well, we need to take our fans more serious"? There's going to be a can of worms opened on Friday with this press conference, I guarantee you.
See, I was really a bit disappointed in Brendan when all this was happening, and he said, "Oh, we're connected," and the board bleed green and white, and especially if they're saying it, there's only so many ways I can dress this up as to why the signings haven't been done, so he's come out with that comment, and then obviously he's been told to back up a wee bit with that. So I was a bit disappointed.
It's like his mates are after doing a bank job, and he knows they're after doing the bank job, but he's terrified to give any hints away.
Aye.
That's what it feels like. Because even when he came back in the second time around, and he's like, "I've been impressed with the scouting, the recruitment system, the sports." He tried to big up the whole. I think he was just doing it as a PR stunt.
Mm-hmm. See,
he took a cracking team from Ange, but it's the football. I think his football at times is dire to watch, and it's weird to say because when you win a league, you don't want to be criticising your team. But look at last season, we were fucking shy from from January onwards.
Mm-hmm. I know, and let's be honest, we had an absolutely fantastic start to the season, even pre-season. You're hammering Man City and Chelsea, and starting the season really well and playing well, playing some really exciting stuff. Then it totally changes. It just how can it vary so much? And I understand personnel changes that we've lost, but there's got to be a working within the team, core within the team. This is the way we play. No matter who comes in, this is the way we play. and we've just fell off a cliff when it comes to exciting football, and it's a very difficult watch at times. Really, it's a really frustrating. It's frustrating to sit there.
It's mad to think that, like, with the top of the league, you're playing this fucking.
I know that you can see how people from outside are saying, "What you moan that? You know, you're 6 points clear. You've not lost a game yet. You've not lost a goal. There's nothing to complain about." And it's like, you just don't get it. You know, football's got to be played in a certain way. It's just got to. It's the way Celtic play the Celtic way. It's the Celtic way. So I'm actually looking forward to the football getting back as well, because I just want to get back to seeing.
I think I'm more looking forward to the occasion, but not the performance, to be honest.
Yeah. I just want to be honest with you, I want this done and dusted.
I'm at 4-5-0 the weekend now.
Aye. If we can get stuff sorted with the boardroom and get that shifted round about quite quick, and just get down and concentrate on the football and get behind the team. We're going to get behind the team anyway, but our voices shall be heard. Then that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants, as a Celtic fan, is to go and watch their team and support them and watch them win. More importantly, but play good football as well. Nobody wants all the background stuff. This is means to an end. You know, it's stuff that's got to be done. If you're serious about wanting changes, then you need to take action. You can't just, you know, say one thing and then do nothing about it. Otherwise, what's the point? And that plays right into the board as well, because they're quite happy to sit back as long as they possibly can to wait for things to just burn out and go away, because that's their style. I don't think this is going to burn out and go away anywhere, to be honest with you. It will continue to escalate until they take some action and do something. They've got to do something. It's a very hard place for the fans to be in, because they want to support their team, but they want to show their disdain for the board as well. And no matter what way you try and disguise it, it is going to affect it. No matter what you do, it will affect the team in some way. We'll wait and see whether it's going to be a positive or a negative. It could actually turn out to be a positive, especially if it's the 12-minute wait before the fans come in. So it's going to be silence, nobody in the stands or the Celtic end, if they only get one end. And then all of a sudden, 12 minutes and they come out and bang, the place erupts, you know, and that could push your team on.
Yeah. I get them into that doesn't happen though. So like, I'll be honest with you, right? I think, can you still hear me all right?
You just broke up a wee bit there, Keith. Aye, still here.
Yeah, no problem at all, right? So I'm looking at that squad and I'm saying to myself, right, Ida's gone, body motion, Maeda wanted to move. Is it Tate want to move? Does Bernardo want to move? Is this why the midfield is not at the chemistry level it should be at?
You want to blame Bernardo for wanting to leave? He's not going in a picture at all, Keith.
I don't blame him. And he's bossing it for the Portugal 21s, like, or the 23s, whatever it is.
He's the captain.
Like, it's just, it's a weird state of affairs. It's just, like, as I said, you can blame the manager, we can blame the manager, and you can blame the shite tactics of football, but we look forward to the weekend. Hopefully, it will be a positive result. Hopefully, it will not be a negative result like the way we got dumped out that League Cup at Rugby Park 3 years ago. Still fucking haunts me today.
Yeah.
That game was atrocious. That's when it didn't look like he didn't want it. He had a chance to go 1-on-1 with the keeper from the halfway line, and he tries to take a shot.
That's right.
And he scuffs it.
Aye.
Look, I love Maeda. The comments he said to the Japanese media is he's going to work his hardest, and he's happy at the club. But why did he want to move then? If he's happy at the club, is it a case he's bored of the football? He wants a new chapter. It's a weird one. It really is a weird one.
Aye, it is. I think. Look, I think if the club are gone with their signing strategy of players, then it is his time to go. Because when it comes to transfer fees, they need to capitalise when the iron's still hot at the best possible time. And I suppose this season was going to be the kind of last chance to get the best fee for Maida would be this summer. But that's obviously not going to happen.
How much do you think he's worth?
Maida? Well,
he's going to be 28 now.
Aye, 28. So I think they were offered, was it 17 for that Turkish mob, something like that? Euros, I think that was. I think they would take that a day. But listen, last year we were touting him at 50 million, right?
Yeah, because he was scoring in the Champions League.
He was scoring goals. Obviously, it was so important to the team as well because he's got the work rate of two players. We said that at a time that he's very unique when it comes to world football because you don't see many players like him. Listen, if Maida was a full package, he would never have came to us, and he certainly still want to be here if he had it all. He's got his flaws, obviously. We've seen a much better version of Maida than we had at any point, especially when it comes to scoring goals. He's certainly got his style in plenty of positions, so he's got that. He's got the pace. He's got the good positional sense and instinct as to where the ball is going to be. I think, especially his first spell, the early spell at Celtic, it was the finishing that let him down, quite erratic. I think the more he's got to think about something, there's more chance he's not going to finish that opportunity. If it's quick and just instinctive, I think he's a better player. But that unfortunately, I think
play him in the Europa League, let him bang a few goals in, and if he wants to go in January and if the price is right and the player doesn't want to be there, let him go. As much as he's been a vital part of the team, people need to understand it's a business. Players will go, but you need to. If we're selling it's just like argument's sake, we accept 12 million for Moyes in January, right? Say a team, the Premier League, say is a Burnley come in with 12 million, and he signs for Burnley, right? We need to know from the club. We need to get insurances from the club saying, right, if we're making this amount on a player, we will put minimum 50% back into the fee for strengthening that position. That's all we need to know. It's just like, I'm not expecting to give broken promises, but give a bit of ambition. Be honest and say, right, we're at the losing kiln. We're gonna spend 5 million. Kyogo we saw for, what was it, 12 million? Was it 10 or 12 million for Kyogo?
10.
I don't see Kyogo I see it as a 4 million sale because we got Jota. That's the way I look at it. Because money come and go. That's the way Kyogo made his point. He wanted to go. I think Hatate. To be honest with you, I think Hatate wanted to go for the last 2 years.
I agree with you. I've always had that impression looking at Hatate as if he just can't be arsed half the time. He's got a dreary look about him at times, and I think that shows in his inconsistency, his performances at times as well as possibly, what's going on. And he's just
Ingles.
Right, what's the chances Maida going to Big Ange at Nottingham Forest in January?
That's a good show. Who did they have in the wings? Actually, that's not a bad show. You want to put your money on that?
He's obviously going to be playing a style of football that suits Maida. Maida knows him. He knows Maida, knows what he can do, what he can't do.
He's toured club with him as well because he worked with him in Yokohama, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
So
maybe they might come in.
That's a bold prediction, but I think that could happen. And plus Forest have the money as well. So
as providing Andrew's still in a job by that time, because what it's like in there. It has a bad start and the pressure's on him.
You lose 4 games and you're it's not any better up here in the Glasgow Fishbowl.
No, I know that. I know you need to win every game.
Right, I'll let you go. It was good chatting to you.
It was
hopefully
good. Thanks for having me on.
Hopefully we get 2 reactions on Sunday. We get a reaction on the pitch and we get a reaction as the fans will go aside this and make
the good thing is, Keith, it's live on Sky, so it's gone to a lot of people. It's getting shown to a lot of people. So
3 o'clock kickoff.
that's an ideal time to get the first action out there, is when one of the major broadcasters is actually putting it out live. So that'll be an interesting watch, that's for sure.
And then I wonder what will be the next stage. What will be the next stage at Fairhill? Is it Fairhill for Partick? Yeah, it's Fairhill for Partick. Could be the next one, wouldn't it? And then you've got Red Star. I'm not even thinking about Red Star. I'm not, to be honest with you.
No.
No, Hibs are wearing the hoops top the weekend, I heard.
The what, sorry?
The 100 Hibs are wearing a hoops jersey the weekend.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, because they're 150 years. It won't be against Celtic, but they're wearing a hoops top the weekend anyway. Someone was saying to me.
Have you seen the top? Has it been advertised? No.
I haven't seen anything about it just yet, but they're probably just like a limited edition kind of thing. But wait, Easter Road, just on their website. What am I checking out Hibs when I'm on a Celtic podcast? But they're going to be a good team.
Be interested to see what it looks like. What is not about nothing else?
Oh well, it's about getting the right players in and doing the right job. And I think Hibs will challenge this year to be third place. And I think Hearts will give a good run as well. And it'll be an interesting game on Saturday for Hearts and Rangers as well. I think it's going to be a draw in the house. Yeah. 5th draw. I think it's definitely going to be.
Or even a defeat. Aye.
Never know, but I'll let you go. So folks, have a look at Andy's podcast, the Four Leaf podcast. Good set of lads there. 4 Leaf Clover. They usually go live around, is it 7 o'clock on a Friday?
Yeah, 7 o'clock on a Wednesday, 7 o'clock on a Friday, and every post match. Me and Scotty's usually on noon again. Kaiser can make it if he's not at the game. So
be interesting, and I'm gonna say now prediction for the game. I'm gonna say 2-0.
I'm not even gonna predict anything. I don't even know what. Normally in the pod we would pick our team, well, what we think the team's going to be, and I just haven't got a clue. It's the furthest thing for my thought is trying to predict a team. I'm just still coming to terms with everything that's happening.
You're Ballywishing to Necky. We keep forgetting about this guy, Sebastian Tanecki.
You've got to see the new guys. You've got to see new guys.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be interesting seeing if Maida's playing it as well. So it'll be. I wonder what person of Maida we're going to get until January.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that cliche is working. Fresh blood brings a bit of competition, because obviously Yamada has been left out of Europa League in a more pussy Osmond. It's a fucking mess, honestly. Playing the recruitment as well.
I know.
It's a mess. Right, I'm gonna go. Good speaking to you. Thanks to everyone that tuned in, and I'll catch up with you soon, Andy. All right. Cheers, hell.
Good man. Cheers.